again so much for doing this and sharing your journey. As you know, we do this quite often in our Mojo Money community and have 3M clients come on and just sort of share their thoughts and insights on their journey in the 3M system. So today we have Sherry, who is out in BC, Canada. Hello. We're just talking about, like Canadians do, we always talk about the weather.
Yeah.
How's the weather? Yeah.
Especially in the spring.
Especially in the spring in Canada. But Sherry, introduce yourself to everybody, like all the hats that you wear.
Yeah, there's lots. My name's Sherry. I live in Vernon, BC. I am a mom of 2 kids. They are 13 and 10, and I am stay-at-home mom part of the time, and part of the time I work at the kids' school as a staff member, so I help out in the classroom. That's 3 days a week, and yeah, driving around to activities. And my husband has his own business, so I do the bookkeeping for him. So there's lots going on. I'm help also with the school society, so I actually help with the treasurer and do some of the paperwork for him. So yeah, go all the time. Yeah,
on the go all the time. And she's organized this one. I always love her office. She has the home edit, like the rainbow stuff going on, and the water bottles all lined up in rainbows. I love it. So let's talk about where you were before 3M. Like what were you feeling? What was going on? Because that's where many women are like, I feel alone, right?
Yeah. No, I joined the 3M system at the beginning because I was just disappointed with, I had tried Weight Watchers and Noom and all these different things. Yeah, and it gets hard to keep track of everything, right? You're always tracking, you always have to write things down. And I'm not against writing things down. It just got to be too much. Like if I want to make a meal, Weight Watchers, I have to go and first calculate the points for each individual ingredient and then combine it together. And it was kind of complicated. So then I heard about the 3M system, and I tried a couple of the free workshops first. And then I just thought I liked the idea of this because I'm 43 now. So you know, I definitely I never struggled with weight when I was younger, and it just became a thing. I could tell when I hit 30, it changed. When I hit 35, it was even worse. And when I hit 40, it was just like, oh crap. So basically, I found Moni's group, and I thought it would be nice to try it out. And what I think my negative attitude was the biggest thing. Excuse me. When I started, I was almost obsessive about food because you felt guilty every time you ate anything. You know, and the things that some people would tell you are good to eat, other people would say we're not. And so I think that confusion around what actually is healthy, what is a good choice for you, and, you know, rather than thinking about bad foods, I feel like, you know, Moni's group just sort of gave me this idea that, you know, like I say, there's no bad foods. It's just, it's a good choice or it's not a good choice for you at this time. But there was nothing off limits, which I really like. So yeah, it just sort of changed the way I think about food.
Yeah, we do that right from the, and I think that's a big part of the journey. That was an aha for you. And a lot of clients that come through, they're like, okay, I know I need help with nutrition. I know I need help with the shaping and doing it in line with my hormones and everything going on at the age of 40 to get stronger and leaner, all these things. But that change in narrative around the food. And I remember us doing, because we do check-ins every 4 weeks, having the conversation, you're just like, oh my gosh, I feel it changing. And it's so freeing that you don't have to think about it all the time.
No, that's the thing, right? And so it's something that I think it takes a little bit at the beginning because you have to sort of relearn, right? Or learn a new way. And so that feels a bit overwhelming, I would say, for the first 3-4 weeks. You're just kind of like, it's so much to read, and you know, but I know I've always been reassured by you, Moni, that I can just take my time and, you know, figure it out as I go. And if I don't have time one week, I just didn't read the stuff. And I'm not going to lie, I'm still not all the way through the 12 weeks online. Really? I will start again, probably close to the beginning, and I'm going to keep working on it. Like, this is definitely not the end of my journey, but I feel I'm at a point now where I'm comfortable to take the information and go forward with it. So I'm excited to keep going, but I think that's the thing. You can do one thing at a time, which is kind of what you encourage anyway, is just doing one thing at a time, kind of, and then adjusting that until it's comfortable for you and it's part of your lifestyle, and then you add in something else, right? And I've been surprised that some of the small things can actually make a difference, right? Like you had told me with my smoothie that I always have for breakfast, my protein shake, just to add almond butter or peanut butter, which I never did before because Weight
Healthy
Watchers would
fat.
add 3 points to it. But it was amazing how much more that made me feel full. And then I used to think, okay, well, if you're, breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner. And then it was like, well, actually, you almost don't need that morning snack in between. By the time I'm done my smoothie to having lunch, it's only 3.5 hours. And I realized when I took that out, I actually wasn't hungry. So it was, again, it's just retraining, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And it's you being in tune with you,
yeah,
right?
exactly, yeah, for
And you
sure.
checking in, being like, okay, like, is today a gong show? Do I need a snack? Is it not a
Mm-hmm.
snack? And
Mm-hmm.
again, the 3M system, the whole 4 months, what you learn online, like you said, it carries you on. I have so many clients that are like, Moni, I go eating again and I've learned something new and I've learned something new. Like, it's always going to be there. But the strategy, when we talk about, and with the coaches like Angela,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we stick to,
Yeah,
right? And that's
yeah,
what we learn how to integrate into our lives.
yes,
What
exactly.
was your biggest reservation, do you think?
To get started,
Yeah.
I would say probably just that feeling of like, but I've done all the things already, so how is this one going to be different, right? Like
Right.
realistically, every program promises results, and yeah, I think that was the place I was nervous at the beginning. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, I think,
And
how do I
where do
know
you
this
feel
for
it's
you? But
different for you in your journey? Where do you feel
yeah, I
like
think
it's different?
what I like about it, and I know that I've noticed even Weight Watchers, and my sister is kind of on that now, and so she's been talking about it. Um, but what the 3M system has offered all along is just the mindset, right? And I think that's something that a lot of diet programs don't address. They talk about food and exercise and those two things, but I think for me the biggest thing has just been starting with the mindset actually, and like you said, retraining, changing the narrative so that you're not throwing these negative sayings at yourself all the time, feeling guilty all the time. And
Mhm.
changing that, I think for me that's the biggest thing. And have I lost 40 pounds yet? No, but I'm going to keep working because I do
Yes.
know that, the visualizing is a big thing for me, just imagining what it would be like to be in that, that place that I want to be. And so that sort of keeps me going on the days maybe I don't feel like it. And so I think for me it's just the mindset is such a big part of it, that it's great that I think that the 3M system addresses that, because a lot of programs don't, right?
Yeah.
So
The neuro realignment. I honestly think when I do these interviews with you guys, that the 80 to 90% of you, when I say, okay, what was the biggest takeaway? What are you most proud of? Which we're going to get to yours here in a second. It
mhm,
always comes down to the narrative and the mindset stuff.
mhm,
How to work against me sabotage. Why do I sabotage myself when I lose 20 pounds? Like,
mhm.
who's done that before? All of us lost the weight, right?
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden you start eating the Doritos or doing, not working out as hard or whatever it may be. And you're like, why? Like, I'm looking good.
yeah,
Why am I
yeah,
doing this? How do we not muscle through habits? Right?
mhm,
How do we calm the mean girl? How do we get through vacations? And we talked about you go camping for a week with the family and
mhm.
still enjoy that time and have Doritos with the kids and hamburgers and everything else, but not without the guilt and the start fresh Mondays and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah,
So big. So
yeah, that's
share
true.
with us, what are you most proud of so far?
Um, yeah, honestly, I think it has to do with the mindset for me. It's the fact that I
Mhm.
don't feel guilty every time I put anything in my mouth.
Yeah,
Like you
that's
got to that point where it was just like,
yeah.
no matter what, even if it was a healthy thing, you're like, but this program says it's healthy. Keto would say that this fruit is too much sugar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no
Mhm.
matter what, there's always somebody telling you something you're eating is really not a good choice for you. And I
Yeah.
think that that's freeing to just sort of, I'm proud of not obsessing about food in the same way anymore. Like I still do have a little snack or have a glass of wine or whatever, but I don't feel
Yes.
guilty about that, because if it's done in moderation with, all the other supports in place, it's not a big deal to do that sometimes. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
so
life.
it's been big. Yeah.
It's life,
Yeah.
right? You
Hmm.
learning how to calm that voice, because we knew in your journey too that that was a big micro stressor, was the constant,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh,
we
for
talked
sure.
about your evenings and things like
Hmm.
that too, and it'll come,
Yeah,
right? And
that's
there's going
right.
to be
Yep.
some weeks that you're on point and some weeks that you aren't. And this, I think this whole perception that we have to be perfect all the time to be successful,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
for you, that was a big shift to be like,
It really
okay,
was, yeah. Yeah, and like you said, the evening snacking too. I think because of the mindset, because of the aspect of thinking about why you do the things you do, it made me realize, okay, some of this is habit. And then I sit there and I drink a glass of wine and I go, you know what? I don't really think I even like this particular wine all that much or whatever, right? Like before
hmm
I would have just been like, up 2, 3 glasses and just because it's there and you just keep refilling and then
yeah,
so it's just making you think about what you're doing. And it's not, like you said, it's not obsessive and I'm not upset. It's just like, oh, well, I never really thought about it. I just did it. And
yeah,
now I'm just more aware. So I
yeah,
think the awareness is a big deal because you then, like you have talked so many times about, then you catch yourself, right? You do sort of check in and it's like, okay, do I need this or should I just go to bed?
yeah.
Right?
What do I
So
really need right now?
yeah, that's right.
Right? That's a
Yeah.
big part because we get on that hamster wheel and just go and
Oh
just
yeah.
do,
Yeah, and
right?
that's the thing, right? I mean, for me to look back, I would say this is a habit of 10 years. So I'm not going to break it in a month, right? As
Yeah,
much as I'd like to. So
yeah,
I'm seeing the changes and I'm starting to make better choices. But I do know
yeah,
it's going to be ongoing for a while still.
yeah. And you feel that everything's ebbing in your life, right? Like it doesn't feel like a job. It's starting to become routine and flowing
Yeah. Oh,
with
yeah.
everything you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. And like I
Perfect.
said, I am sort of a few weeks behind, it doesn't matter, I guess, behind,
Yeah,
but just because I can only handle so much new information at one point, and then I
yeah,
just have to get on with my life. And because there is a certain amount of, time you have to invest in it. And I'm
totally.
willing to do that. But some weeks, like you said, with the snacking, it's also the same way. Some weeks you're crazy busy and some weeks are a little bit easier. Then you have some extra time to sit back and do some more reading or researching or whatever, right? And
Yeah,
I also like the idea of really staying with one point until you're comfortable with it before you move on to the next thing so that you don't forget things or you don't feel like it's too much, right?
yeah.
So
There's no
taking it at my
overwhelm leads.
pace.
You got it. Overwhelm
Yeah.
leads to the inaction, right?
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
For me, when I was looking back at your journey, I honestly think again, it really was that change in narrative. And I
Mm-hmm.
know at the beginning, we're totally honest here that there was frustration. You're like, listen, like I want this to shift.
Yeah.
But we knew that this had to come first
Mm-hmm.
because when we get to that end result, if we haven't worked on the up here, we you learn that you lose the weight or the inches, but you look in
Mm-hmm.
the mirror, you're
Mm-hmm.
still obsessing about food, you
Yeah.
still don't feel confident, you feel unvalidated, you
Yeah.
start the mean girl's still there, and you don't feel different. So I
No.
am super proud of you for recognizing that
Yeah.
and reaching out and saying, like, I need coaching and help through this. And through
Mm-hmm.
that whole journey, you're super honest, and that's
I
big, like
will.
communication, and be like,
Yeah.
guys, this is where
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
at, things are in
Yep.
flow, things are awesome. Okay, I'm going on vacation, any tips, advice, let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, okay, no, this habit I'm trying to really work on, it doesn't seem to be shifting for me, let's talk it through.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
how you grow, so that when you get to that final goal, which will
Yep.
come,
Yep.
right, that
Yep.
this is in line with it, and then you can
Yeah,
really
that's right.
enjoy it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will give you a quick example.
Sure.
My mom, she lost 75 pounds, which is amazing.
Hmm.
She has basically, 2 weeks of meals and she just eats the same thing all the time, which is fine. But she comes to my house and she doesn't want to drink wine. She won't eat chocolate because every time she sees a Lindt chocolate ball, she's like, that's 80 calories and that's going to take me this many minutes on the treadmill and then she even once mentioned to me, and I don't think she'd ever be on this group, so I feel comfortable saying this, and nobody
Yep.
knows her anyway, but she was just like, some days I'm just not sure it's worth it. Like, I don't get to enjoy the things I like anymore. And I was like, that makes me so sad, right? And then she's still, yeah, it's like you talked about the Biggest Loser, like they lose it, but now she's disappointed that she's got all this extra skin and like all these things, and she still doesn't feel, because I said, well, go and get the extra skin removed and whatever. And she's kind of like, oh, that's a lot of money. I was like, but you're worth it and you work so hard. And it's just, so
Yeah,
anyway, I've just seen the other side. If you don't have the mindset there, it's sort of a hollow victory, right? And I
I
think
love
that
that.
makes me
It's
sad
true.
for her. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Because
yeah.
I'm sure women watching this is why I love doing this, are like, just like, oh my gosh, yes. And we get a lot of women that relate to family members and
Hmm.
what's going on with their different, maybe they have pre-diabetic parents, or parents that are maybe ailing earlier than they should be, or
Hmm.
whatever it may be,
Hmm.
right? Or they've had loss in their life and they're like, I don't want to be there,
Right.
right? We
Yeah.
want to feel good and look good for sure, but there's definitely You gotta enjoy life.
Oh yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Enjoy
Right.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's wrap it up with this. If you had a piece of advice on what you've learned so far for someone watching this and really relating to your story and your journey,
Okay.
what would that be?
A piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots I could say. I would say, like I said, for me, the biggest thing is the mindset. You have to get your mind in the right place first. For me, it's first.
Yeah.
Because nothing else would, I've tried all the other things. I've started with the exercise, I've started with the eating, and none of that was enough to want to make the change. But I think you have to shift how you think about food and yourself. And and I think once you accept the fact or acknowledge the fact that you're worth investing the time, and being able to put aside all the things in your life and all the people in your life and say, it doesn't mean I love you less, it just means that I need to make time for me, because then I could be better for all of you. Right.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah. And working with the seasons of life, right?
yeah,
The seasons
exactly.
of life.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
seasons
and
of
being
life.
okay with if you're not perfect, like you said, we're not perfect all the time. I have days where I get fast food because I'm out and about and I forgot to pack a snack and I need to eat something. So, but I just don't beat myself up over it. I try to make a healthier choice, maybe order salad or something else
Yep.
instead, grilled chicken instead of breaded. But I eat it and then I move on, and it doesn't have to be this obsession anymore about what you ate and what you shouldn't eat and what you should eat and all the things.
And I've gained an inch and I'm losing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is
Yeah.
gonna make me. Anyways, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing, my friend. I'm super proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, thank you.
Keep focused, right?
Mhm,
Keep in
mhm.
our circle. Keep us updated with how everything's going.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, I can't thank you
Yeah.
enough. I'm super proud of you. I'm
Thank you.
excited.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. It was good.